The story of the 1965 Roosevelt Dime begins at a turning point in United States coinage. The nation was experiencing an unprecedented coin shortage during the early to mid-1960s, and this shortage affected every denomination in circulation. Millions of Americans complained that stores, banks, and vending machines lacked enough coins to meet daily demand. The United States Mint faced tremendous pressure to solve this problem, and the answer came in the form of a major change in the composition of circulating coins. The year 1965 was the beginning of a new era for American dimes. Before 1965, the Roosevelt dime was struck in 90% silver and 10% copper. This silver composition had existed since the introduction of the dime in 1796, and it continued through the Mercury dime era and into the Roosevelt series. However, rising silver prices during the early 60s caused the metal value of the dime to approach the face value. People began hoarding coins, fearing that silver would soon be worth more than the coin itself. As a result, silver coins rapidly disappeared from circulation, creating even more shortages. Congress and the United States Mint needed a solution, and that solution came through the Coinage Act of 1965. The Coinage Act of 1965 removed silver from the dime and quarter and reduced silver content in the half dollar. For the dime, this meant a complete shift from a silver-based planchet to a clad planchet made of copper and nickel. The new dimes featured a copper core with outer layers of cupra-nickel, which created the familiar silvery appearance seen today. This change was revolutionary because it permanently ended the use of silver in America's 10-cent coin. The first year of this modern composition was 1965, which makes the 1965 dime historically important. The design of the 1965 Roosevelt dime remained the same. The obverse features the portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, created by Chief Engraver John R. Sinnock. Roosevelt had been honored on the dime in 1946 following his death, and in recognition of his leadership and his connection to the March of Dimes campaign, which fought polio. The reverse also remained unchanged, featuring a torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength. Even though the material changed, the artwork continued the tradition of Roosevelt's legacy. Another important detail about 1965 dimes is that they were produced without mint marks. From 1965 through 1967, the Mint decided to remove mint marks from all circulating coins as a strategy to discourage hoarding. Collectors at the time were searching for different mint mark varieties, and this caused people to keep large numbers of new coins out of circulation. The Mint believed that by removing mint marks, it would eliminate any incentive for people to hoard newly issued coins. As a result, all 1965 dimes were struck, without mint marks regardless of the facility that made them. Most 1965 Roosevelt dimes were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and the production numbers were enormous. The Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins in order to refill the national supply and end the shortage. The high mintage means that the majority of 1965 dimes are still common today, and they remain easy to find in circulation more than half a century later. Although common, the 1965 dime is a historic transition piece marking the divide between silver coinage and modern clad coinage. There is also an interesting story surrounding the accidental creation of rare transitional error coins. A very small number of 1965 dimes were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964. These transitional errors are extremely rare and highly valuable today. They serve as reminders of the logistical challenges the Mint faced while switching from silver to clad planchets. For collectors, these silver 1965 dimes represent one of the most exciting modern numismatic discoveries. The new clad dime proved to be durable and efficient for mass production. Over time, Americans became accustomed to the new metallic appearance, sound, and feel of their coins. The shift away from silver reflected larger economic realities of the era, and it shaped the future of American coinage. The 1965 dime became the foundation for all dimes produced afterward. Its copper-nickel sandwich structure remains unchanged to this day. For many collectors, the 1965 Roosevelt dime is significant not because of rarity, but because of its role in American monetary history. It symbolizes the modernization of U.S. coinage, the government's response to a nationwide crisis, and the beginning of a new era where face value and metal value were no longer tied closely together. The coin tells a story of economic adaptation, political decision-making, and technological change within the mint. It is a simple 10-cent piece, but it carries a deep historical legacy. In summary, the Roosevelt dime of 1965 marks the turning point between silver coinage and the clad coinage system used today. It was produced during a national coin shortage and was part of sweeping changes made to stabilize the economy. Its design honors President Franklin D. Roosevelt, while its composition reflects modern economic realities. The 1965 dime is a cornerstone of the United States coinage history, and its story continues to interest collectors, historians, and everyday Americans who handle these coins without knowing the journey they represent. The deeper history of the 1965 Roosevelt dime also connects to the global economic climate of the mid-20th century. During this period, the world was still adjusting to the post-war economy, and precious metal markets were becoming increasingly unstable. Silver prices rose steadily because of industrial demand and growing international investment. The United States, which had relied heavily on silver for its coins, realized that it could no longer sustain the large-scale use of silver in everyday circulating currency. The mint needed a long-term solution that could handle mass production and withstand the financial pressures caused by the rising value of metals. The 1965 clad dime became the answer to that challenge. The decision to remove silver from the dime was not taken lightly. There were heated debates in Congress about whether the public would accept coins that no longer contained precious metals. Many Americans viewed silver coins as a symbol of trust and stability. Some believed that removing silver would make coins feel cheaper and less valuable. Others argued that the government needed to be practical and look toward the future. President Lyndon B. Johnson strongly supported the Coinage Act of 1965 and reassured the nation that the new coins would still hold their full value. His public message helped calm concerns and encourage people to embrace the new currency. Behind the scenes, the United States Mint had to modernize its equipment and adjust its production methods to handle the new copper-nickel clad planchets. Striking a coin with layered metals required different pressure settings, different rolling techniques for preparing metal strips, and more careful quality control. The Mint conducted numerous tests to ensure the new dimes would be durable and resistant to wear. Engineers confirmed that the clad structure actually improved the lifespan of the dime and made it less prone to bending or warping. This upgrade in durability was an unexpected benefit of the new composition. Another important part of the story is the timeline of production. Although the dimes are dated 1965, many were struck during later years because the Mint froze the date on all coins from 1965 through 1967. This was done to smooth production and discourage collectors from searching for specific dates. As a result, a dime marked 1965 could actually have been struck in 1966 or even 1967. This unusual practice confused some collectors, but it helped the Mint focus on producing enough coins to end the shortage. It also meant that the 1965 dime represents not just a single year, but an entire transitional period in American numismatics. When the new dimes entered circulation, public reaction was mixed. Some people immediately began collecting the last year of silver dimes from 1964, while others took interest in the brand-new clad dimes. Vending machine manufacturers had to adapt their coin validation systems because the electromagnetic signature of a silver coin was slightly different from a copper-nickel coin. These adjustments took time, but they helped modernize machine technology across the country. The process demonstrated how deeply connected coins were to daily life and how even a small change in metal composition affected entire industries.